Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm Cyclone. It's time for more Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. What are we doing today? Scenario number 4. This is the Middlesbrough to Manchester Airport service. Because it's going to Manchester Airport, we're obviously going to go all the way to Manchester from Leeds, which is where the service goes through. So Leeds to Manchester, basically the same service that we did in the previous scenario, but it's part of a different timetable. So there might be an extra stop or two on this Class 158 service. There might be an odd alert or misfire where it doesn't accept our input. We'll see what happens as we go and see if I can manage that in a good and safe fashion here. Let's see if we can get started on that. On a dry but cloudy autumn evening, operate this fast regional railways Transpennine service between Leeds and Manchester. The railway may be winding down for the night, but things may not necessarily be plain sailing. This is pretty much an hourly service right into the evening, and then of course there's a few overnight hours where services generally do not run, but it does start early in the morning, does go into late evening. Let's get this one started. Good evening, driver. Today, or more like tonight, you'll be operating this 3-car Class 158 service from Leeds to Manchester. We've had reports of a hotbox on 1H93 in the Guide Bridge area. At this time, we're not expecting this to cause any issues to this service. We're going to get the briefing. Garbage. Let's set the train up here. Oops, Shift W. Don't forget to put the master key in if you want to go anywhere. Good first step. We'll kill that alerter. I will turn the headlights on. I will turn the instrument lights on. I will turn the tail lights off. And you see the red lights go off on the headlight display. I didn't open the passenger doors, so we're going to do that. That would be an important first step. And let's not spoil information on the service itself yet, which I will instantly do if I bring up the task list. So, yeah, I'm not going to bring that up for now. We'll look at the task list as we go later on as we see the storyline elements. So for now, let's look at the train as we get ready to depart. Leaving Leeds, our first stop will be Huddersfield. Of the two that are planned, Huddersfield and Manchester Victoria, I believe, are our stops. I should say Manchester Piccadilly is our second stop, sorry. Those are the scheduled stops. Another reason I'm not bringing up the briefing is, like I mentioned earlier, is to not spoil the storyline. I also didn't mention the driver reminder appliance earlier when I was talking about the setup. I didn't mention that it has to be turned off. Make sure you turn that off or you're not going anywhere. So the only green signal on the line is ours, on line F. Now we're hitting a slight uphill grade. Well, it's not slight. 1 in 108 is anything but slight. So we're going to have to put a little power on as we get moving into a 30-mile-per-hour stretch here. Here, climb this steep uphill gradient with a 90s train. Good luck. Oh, now it's a 1 in 82. There you go. 1 in 82. Well, that's going to keep you from speeding up too fast, won't it? Might keep you from speeding up at all in some cases. So I'm now going to go ahead and apply full throttle. I will not be anywhere near 45 when I get into the 75 segment. The hill is now getting a little less steep now that I've had my period of you're not going anywhere. So So we're going to pass 7 stations before we reach the one we want to stop at. Again, that is Huddersfield. We're going to pass the location of an 8th station, which is going to be opening soon. I've mentioned this before, White Rose. Between Cottingley and Morley. One of the other evening services going by. I keep forgetting to check who that is, but I think I actually have a printout list of this one, so I might be able to tell you in a moment if I consult that list. No, I cannot. The only one I can imagine is that might be a Manchester Airport to Leeds service, probably 1C93, but I also have 2 services, really, that I don't have any other information on later on, which I believe appear later in the journey. So that had to be the one I just mentioned. We're going to be going through Cottingley in just a moment here, I believe. Yep, I can see the lights. We're up to 74. I was not expecting to be up at 75 before we got to the 65, so this is interesting. Making some really good time on this journey. I still have a minute and a half, well, half a minute leeway here. So I've eased back the throttle to make sure I don't speed, but that I can still maintain speed. I'm going to have to come down to 65 anyway, so it doesn't matter. Let's just drop the throttle off now. We're going to need a break at this point anyway, I believe. And I'm going to get ready to respond to these alerts because it's going to be... I've already had it fail me once where it didn't want to respond, and it resulted in the train deciding it didn't want to resume because of a whole bunch of wheel slips. So, needless to say, on an uphill, I don't want this to happen. There we go. I bring the mouse over the button, the exclamation mark button, just in case it has to, just in case that's the one that takes and the Q button doesn't. I'll get down 45. Let's get down. Step 2. I should still be down in time even at step 1 at this point, I imagine. Or at least very close. Actually, I'll give it a slight step 2 just to be safe. There we go. That's what I want to see, 45. So that is the requisite speed as we enter Morley. That is the platform speed at Morley, whether you're stopping or not. Of course, if you're stopping, you're not going to be going 45. You're going to be going, well, 0 at some point. Welcome to the Morley Tunnel once again, and we're now in a 75. So we're going to go ahead and speed this bullet up once again. While we're going through this tunnel, just a quick note that we are on the 4th of 7 videos. I'm debating again whether to put the rail fan, since I already missed one set. I'm debating whether to hold on to this set and have a rail fan series of 2 or more videos back to back. I may just go ahead and do that without even trying to get these, because I do know what my upcoming schedule is like in terms of my personal life schedule. I do have some other videos ready to go for the next at least 2 weeks after these finish, but I am also trying to figure out how much time I need to fill in around the period where I'm going to be gone again. So I have to figure out if I have enough videos ready to go, and if not, I may need to record a few more, and if I do that, I may not have time to get those rail fans right now anyway. So we will get the Washington-Baltimore rail fans and these rail fans. I may just do them as a separate series and then just tack them on as a fun little thing to do. That way there's a little bit of variety in the short term among various videos. So So we're on a 1 in 410 gradient. I've brought my throttle back to a level 3. I'm still increasing on that. At some point, I will hit a 1 in 100 and, I don't know, 135, I believe. And I'll need to pull the throttle off completely because I will still gain speed on that kind of gradient. I think that gradient is not far away. In fact, it's changing now. So I'm going to pull the throttle off completely now. And we're going to let that just, 1 in 138. Very close. So we'll let that do its thing. We'll just hit the brake periodically to make sure we don't overshoot our 75 limit. Now I think we saw Batley Station, so I believe the next station will be Dewsbury. So Dewsbury, I think, is next. And if I'm way off, it might be Ravensthorpe coming up. So we'll keep an eye out for another track to join us from Wakefield Kirkgate and Wakefield Westgate. That will be the one that is after Ravensthorpe. This does look like Batley. But that might have also been Dewsbury. They all seem to have the same shelter, which I find kind of interesting. The shelter is identical. Something tells me that is not normally the case. Now on a 1 in 119 gradient. So we're gaining speed a little bit faster than we were previously. Just a little bit. Trying to keep the speed in the 74 realm so that if we do end up shallowing out, that we don't have too much of a speed loss in our progress. So here we are at 74.3, now shallowing out. Did I miss Ravensthorpe? I hope not. Based on this curve, I'm going to say this is Ravensthorpe. I am down to 73 even now, so I'm going to put a little throttle on. And I believe the junction is going to be up ahead here. No, I apparently had the wrong track. That was actually Dewsbury. Okay. Or I'm way off on my location. There are those both possibilities. I could be way... Oh, don't. Wow. I hit it downhill again. It almost caught me because I had the throttle applied. So that was close. But fortunately I did not speed. That was the objective. Don't speed. This is Ravensthorpe. And now the track should be joining us. There it is. We are on flat ground. I'm going to pull my throttle back to a 2 for a moment. And of course now we're on an uphill gradient again. So I'm going to put it right back to a 3. Which is actually still gaining speed, so I might not be able to keep it here. Because I'm at 75 miles per hour presently. Both lanes are green. I'm not sure what's on the other track. I don't think there's anything coming. I don't know of anything coming. It's just both clear track for some reason. There is a 70 mile per hour speed limit coming up. I don't believe we get an alert for that. This should be Murfield. So Heath and Lodge Junction should be up ahead, which leads to both Bradley Wood off of our path and Bradley Junction, which we're going to be following. Because we have the 70 coming up, I'm going to lower the throttle now. We should be okay for our timing at this stage. So let's just go ahead and get our speed down. Gently and gradually, we're going to get it down. Will I get it down in time, or am I going to need a break? I think I'm going to get it down in time. We have a little bit of an uphill after that, so I'm going to go back to a throttle 2 at this stage, just to prepare the engine. Let's give it a slight burst of 3 to see how this works on a 1 in 500. Sure enough, it is increasing like I expected. I see some kind of flashing lights up ahead. That's like a street lamp or something, I don't know. Who's keeping count? Who's checking? Nothing but green signals on this lovely clear night. No late services in front of us that we have to worry about. Moving up to a throttle 3. Once again, we should be coming upon Dayton. I have sometimes confused Dayton and Dewsbury in terms of their names. They both start with a D, so that is understandable. But I checked before reporting this to you, and it is Dayton coming up. There's Dayton. So this is our last stop, or last station before Huddersfield. We're 2 miles from Huddersfield, as of Dayton. You can see the 40 coming up, so I'm going to, my timing is going very nicely here, so I'm going to actually ease off the throttle gently at this point, and just get ready to hit the alerter as it bleeps at me. Give myself a couple chances to hit it. We're going to have a 30 at the end of the platform for a brief moment, but that's going to be after our stop, so who cares what's after the platform. Now I'll put a little bit of a brake on. There's the alert. It responded on the cue that time. Thankfully, I didn't have to, didn't have to do any frenetic scrambling for the mouse there, which I had my hand on. So we're going to get down near 50 right now. We will lower it to 40 in a moment. I should not have any other alerts coming up here to warn me to slow down to the 30. The 40 should be sufficient. I'm not losing a lot of speed on this uphill like I expected to, so I'm putting a little more of a brake on for a moment. I'm going to do it again in a second to get the rest of it off. It's actually starting to go down on its own now, which is what I wanted in the first place. Why didn't it do that? I need a little more. So, here we go. Perfect. So now we're good for our stop. In fact, I'm going to slow down just a little more just so we don't come in too quickly, because we are early. We are very early. I'm going to actually look for the proper car stop if there is one on this platform. If we bring up the information here, you can see it just says Huddersfield. I thought there was a train ahead that I was going to mark there, but there isn't. So a little more speed off at this point. I don't see any kind of car marker unless I'm blind, which is possible. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit the brakes here at the end of the platform. That will do. That will do nicely. Doors are open at Huddersfield, platform number 1. Hello, driver of 1H94 at Huddersfield. Just an update on the hotbox on 1H93. It is still blocking the line through Guide Bridge, but we're hoping to clear it shortly. I'll bring you to a stop at Stalybridge to give you a further update. Signaler out. Okay, we have a stop at Stalybridge. Let's get moving. Maybe. Apparently I was still too quick. I wasn't ready because of the pause, so I'm a little too quick on that speeding up apparently. The pause threw me off. So here we go, leaving Huddersfield. Our next stop will now be Stalybridge, but not a passenger stop. Just a little visit to say, hey everybody, and then off we go. So we are 18 miles away from our stop point. Hoping that we can proceed to Manchester Piccadilly, nudge nudge, wink wink. Not liking the reports though. Okay, up to 50 miles per hour we will go, and then we're going to hit a 65 speed limit further ahead. We did leave under a 30 as we exited the platform. But then that 50 was shortly after, and that 65 is quite a bit down. We may actually hit 50. Actually, I'd say we are going to get hit 50 before we get to the 65. So I've taken a notch off the throttle just to slow it down a little bit. Penistone line heading off to the left once again. Pardon me. This is the Gladholt South Tunnel. Okay, I probably could have kept the full throttle on there for a bit, but I will stand by that decision. By the looks of it, we're going to be actually right on time. That's actually scary. Well, we're in a 65 now, so we're going to work with that. Once again, this is an uphill, so we're banking on losing some time here, which is a little unfortunate. We do have 21 minutes from now to reach our stop point. We're getting close to the mile-a-minute territory. We do have a 45 somewhere up ahead. So I'm going to say we're going to gain a bit of time on this journey, guys. Just a hunch. A little bit of a hunch. We'll see if I'm right. I have to admit, I like being right sometimes. This is not one of those times. It's just a guess. Doesn't matter. So I'm curious how many of you may have already been running the Armstrong Powerhouse 150 or the ATS 185 on this line. Those are the two most common trains on this line, even more than the electric trains. And though there are a few of those, and the 68 services, which I believe are Scarborough services, pretty much almost exclusively. Maybe earlier, late in the day, they might have a couple other spots, but mostly Scarborough, I believe. So 4 trains I show on the timetable that run this line. The 142 still occasionally gets a run timing-wise. Whether it actually is a 142, I don't know. But it can run in the modern day, so it's not unusual to see the 142 on this route, even in a normal scenario. It just doesn't happen very often. I like that the route was set for a somewhat modern setup, and I say somewhat modern because, well, let's be honest, Cottingley is going to be gone in a few months. It won't be exactly modern anymore. So by modern, it would have basically be 1995 to 2022 timetables. Hitting 70 miles per hour at this stage. This, from the staggered platforms, would have to be Slowett that we're going through, rather. We are nearing our speed limit, so I will have to ease it back just a little bit in a moment. Getting a little bouncy as we keep climbing this hill. 1 in 104, so we are challenging this gradient and holding it well. I have a 70 coming up, so I'm going to go ahead down to a level 6 throttle right now. I'm testing to see if that's a hold or if that lowers or gains speed from that point. It seems to be a hold, so I might just... Oh, it's actually dropping a little bit. Okay. Very cool. We're going to have a 60 after it anyway, so you know what? Let's go ahead and lower a little bit more. We're making some good time here, so I can afford this. There's a 45 coming up. We're going to get ready to respond to an alert here. But for now, we're going to go ahead and do an uphill slow down to 60. Let's drop it to a level 3 throttle for right now. I'm just going to keep easing that down because I do need to get down to 60. I'd like to do 60 without braking. Getting ready for the alert for the 45. There we go. So we received our alert for the 45. There's the board saying such. So I'm going to go ahead and apply a little bit of a brake application now to help us bring our speed down appropriately. And I'll see if the uphill gradient slows us down the rest of the way. I may need another small brake. So I'm keeping an eye on the amount disappearing off the decimal portion as I lower my speed. And it looks like I'm going to need another brake, so I will do that. Might even need one more. I might not have broken enough. Should be good. This should be Marsden Station that we're going through. We are down to 45. You can see that the ground is flat as we're going to be entering the stand edge tunnel. So I'm keeping an eye on that 85 section that we're going to be able to speed up in. We're going to be able to get some good speed in this tunnel if we can get up to that fairly quickly. But I believe it does take a little while for that speed to kick in. Let's get to, okay, 3 is where I want to be for right now. Let's cut it back because that's too quick. Holding at 2 is perfect. Now we're in the tunnel. There we go. So stand edge tunnel is flat throughout, but I do believe we might hit a slight down here hill near the end, or at least as we exit, where I believe it's down to 60 miles per hour. So 85 is exclusive to the tunnel, The tunnel is literally the fastest part of the route. Figure that one out. There's the downhill segment I was expecting, so I'm going to go ahead and remove my throttle right now. We made some good speed in this tunnel. We can't get to 85, but I'm sure the 185 can pull it off no problem. We're now about 1 3/4 minutes ahead, 1 3/4 minutes in our timing. So we're doing very, very well. We're going to get down to the 60. We're going to hold there for a moment. As we enter the 65, we will start accepting some downhill speed increases, I'm pretty sure. And at that point, we'll have to just manage our speed using the brakes. Pardon me, I heard that coming as I was talking. So here's where I'm going to put a little brake application in. Somebody going by, didn't want to check that yet. Forgot to, actually. Not going to get it now because I don't want to show the task list yet. Okay, I got enough of a decrease. I think I'll be okay as they get to the downhill. I don't think the 65 is going to be a problem for us in this section. Oh, we are getting speed. Yeah, it is already downhill. Okay. Take a little more off just to be sure. Now we're in the 65. We are good to go. I'm going to let the 1 in 125 downhill gradient manage our speed at this point. And I will brake appropriately, which is the appropriate thing to do. Hitting 64 miles per hour, so now I need to make sure I have my finger ready on the brake, which I do, and we're going to do that. Excellent. The downhill has eased to a 1 in 174, 5, 6, 4. It's fluctuating. We're going to call it 1 in 175 for ease of simplicity. Just changing periodically in this area, which I was not expecting. That's really unusual. I assume it actually does that for it to be fluctuating that much. I assume this has been verified. So 63.5 is fine. I'm making lots of time on this actually, so it's not a problem at all here. Now because the next location is a stop command, either we're going to get to leave early or there's something controlling when we can leave. And that thing controlling might be actually what's causing the 2400, 24-minute stop point. 0024. So that blocker train may not move until right around that time if there is such a train. Sometimes a blocker train will be used to force, to enforce the storyline is what I'm trying to say. Sometimes the blocker train is there to enforce the story. Now I know on UK Train Sim there is a similar blocker train that is actually invisible. And because the train is invisible, you don't even know the blocker train is there. It just gets out of the way, it clears the signals for you. Of course, it also leads to the hilarious situation that if you pass a signal and the blocker train is right behind it, and you are able to go past reds in your settings, you could be colliding with a train you can't see, which is hilarious. Trust me, it doesn't get you angry at all when you crash into something you can't see. Everyone loves crashing into the hand of God once in a while. Or is it more like the spell of Gandalf? I'll stop. One more brake application, we're going to get ready to toot our horn here. And time to get horny. Of course, I've yet to see that crossing that whistle is for, so I don't know why it's there. Just my take. In real life, I know the crossing is there. I've seen it on a cab ride. I just don't know where in the game it is. Seems unfortunate they would put in the whistle board and they would not put in the crossing. I believe this is Greenfield. We've already passed a few closed stations at this point. So Greenfield this would have to be. We still have Mossley coming up. I believe the Micklehurst, as it used to be, would be rejoining us at this point. Actually, I might have missed, that might have been Mossley. Because I'm seeing the 50 up ahead, so we're closer to Stalybridge than I thought we were. I probably have missed Greenfield, and that was actually Mossley. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually still having some symptoms I think are somewhat caused by the fact I had COVID. It's almost 3 weeks later now, almost a month later. So I'm getting a little bit testy at this point about the fact that I still have symptoms. I might actually have to go to a doctor and see if it's something more serious. And once again, my train did not respond, but the good news is I'm 3 minutes ahead. So you know what? We're just going to be quiet and take it. Again, I'm pushing the... It doesn't matter. I'm already braking. Who cares? I'm already being pulled to a stop, so who cares if you want to alert me again? Doesn't matter at this point. Just keep making it worse. Keep making it... Shush. Be quiet. It doesn't matter. You're already stopping me. Why am I an emergency? Don't do that. Okay, let it go. Just forget this. This is the bug, ladies and gentlemen, and I do not like this bug. And I guarantee you, if you have to deal with it, you will not like it either. You will not like it. But when you're 3 minutes ahead, it's one of those things that's like, you know what? The game wants to control your fate. The game will control your fate. Now, that was my third alert. I could not have had 2 speed alerts, so there must have been a train moving into the station as I came along, because that is now a double yellow. So, in a sense, that shows you how far ahead I actually was, that I might be following another train into the station here. We're going to have to see who that is. Now, the only good thing about being brought to a stop is that our speed limit is 50, and I now can avoid crossing 50. That's the only good thing about this. We're going to get ourselves back into pace very quickly here because we're only a mile, well, yeah, about a mile away, and we still have a good 5 minutes to go. So it just lessens our weight at the station. I'm going to take the throttle off now because I'm close to 50, and who cares beyond that because I can just coast in at this point. Oh, here we go again. Thankfully, that one responded, so I don't have to worry about that. I will put a step 1 brake on, though. I'm going to also try to respond to the signal if I get it within Stalybridge so that I'm not forced to stop where the game tells me to stop. That would not be convenient. As you can see, I got a full 4 minutes to do this. I'm just slowing down casually here. I'm not going to go below 20 for now until I get in the platform, then 15 once I'm in the platform. So I've eased off the brake for a little bit right now. Once I get to the end of the platform itself, which is still a ways before the signal, I will then come to a stop. So down to about 20 for now. You can see all these signal indicators, the repeaters are saying, "You shall not pass." I'm not going to do this dramatic. Sorry, guys. I did enjoy Lord of the Rings, but I'm not going to be anywhere near as dramatic. This is now Stalybridge, where we've been told to stop. I will continue onwards a little ways here. Because I can go to the end of the platform. I'm watching for an AWS ramp, which I do not see yet. That's probably it. There we go. Ramp has been responded to. I'm going to get to the end of the platform and we will not be opening our doors because as soon as our signal clears, we're off. I should have eased the brakes down a little bit more there. Okay, good enough for the end of the platform. We're not opening the doors anyway. Who cares? There we go. See you on the other side. Hello, driver of 1H94 at Stalybridge. Just an update on the hotbox on 1H93. Unfortunately, the line through Guide Bridge is still blocked. Therefore, your service will be diverted to Manchester Victoria. We're being blocked by a service coming the other way. Shouldn't we have the line? You should also set your destination to Manchester Victoria. This is code 130. I have another way to do it. We'll do that. You will then run empty to Newton Heath TMD to finish your shift. Therefore, upon arrival at Manchester Victoria, please change cabs whilst passengers are unloading. You should also set your destination to depot. This is number 997. I will clear signal SE7042, which is probably that one ahead of us, once I let Manchester Victoria know that you're inbound. This will be the point where I can now show you the task list and confirm indeed we're going to Manchester Victoria and Newton Heath. And this task list is actually good for having the stop list. Very small briefing. I do not mind this at all. This is good. So let's look at the map now that I can finally show you the map as well. You're going to see that this is how our access is controlled. There's a Stalybridge blocker. Once he gets out of the way, we're going to be able to go. But he's going to be on the track until we get to a portal up here. He will disappear into this portal. Until then, we have yellow signals. So I'm actually tempted to wait for a green signal just to be more realistic, because the signal would be cleared to green instead of us following it yellows. So I might just do, I might just do that and see how that works. Let's set her back on me. In the meantime, I'll save my game and we'll... Actually, before I save my game, let's move up a little bit to the signal. We're just going to move up a little to the signal. It's only 0.5 of a mile away, so we're not going to go too fast. Four is good enough because now we're 0.4 of a mile away. 0.3 of a mile away. Two-tenths of a mile away. Just a little closer. Then I will save the game and we will continue from there if anything goes wrong in this next section. Which it will not because I'm a professional, right? That's close enough. So we'll generate our save here and I'll take another look at the map. So there's the save. Let's look again at what's going on around us. There goes the blocker. So we're going to go ahead and just give it a little bit of time because it's not going to be realistic for us to follow yellows here. I'm going to go ahead and let him get a little further ahead. And we're going to start at the double yellow. That seems for me a good enough time for us to get going on this. Because having already done a test run on this to see how it works, I found myself having another emergency brake situation anyway where the alerter didn't respond. So I prefer to run under green signals for obvious reasons. Somewhat obvious reasons. So we're going to go for a double yellow and start at that. We'll go slowly and hope that we reach a green. We should be good for our timing anyway. I'll go ahead and release the brakes so we're ready to go. For realism, that signal would have been green by now anyway, but there's not much we can do about that. Just a small throttle for now as we get going. You know what? I'm getting tired of this wait. Let's just go. Never mind. We're going to go. I'm tired of this. We know at this point the next signal should be yellow when we reach it anyway. Waiting for green might not be feasible here, so we're just going to go. We had a little bit of fun there, didn't we? 25 is our speed limit in this segment up ahead. That's our junction crossing. Again, the AP sounds on that. Sounds from Armstrong Powerhouse apply to this train. Lovely. Ooh, thought I was going to have to scramble for the brake for a second. And now we're in a... Now we have the green, so that actually worked out for me nicely. We're in a green signal. We're going to see if we've done enough to wait out this blocker so he can disappear in the portal up ahead, at which point it'll be green all the way. Until we have to stop. If we scan ahead on the route, there's us now where the blocker was. The blocker is all the way up here. He's going to make his way into that portal and he will be done. We'll check him in a moment. Once he goes in, we shouldn't have any more problems with signals. .60 is our speed limit. We're indicating green up ahead. Gonna move our way up to 75 over the next few signals here. We should be passing Ashton under Lynn in a moment. Again, not a stop. But we are going to see it. In fact, there it is right now. Uh-oh. Why did my train move up? Let's fix that. There we go. That's much better. Not sure why my train view moved up, so just reset that for you very quickly. I think that's a green. Did he go on the blocker? He went in the portal. Yep, he's in the portal. We're good now. So a random double yellow just showed up because he hadn't disappeared from the route yet, but he eventually went away, and we're off. Off to the races we go. I think I'm reading that as being a minute and a quarter ahead. I think that's a 6, not an 8. So we will continue on this downhill. Oh, that's a downhill that is going to affect us. Let's not speed. That's kind of ideal. 1 in 100 will cause us to speed, so we don't want to do that. it's getting even steeper. Okay. And it's smoothing out now. 1 in 135 gradient. There is a 70 coming up, so I'm going to be slowing down to that in just a moment. There's no warning alert for the 70. But whatever speeds follow that, I assure you there will be warnings for those. We're going to have a 40 and eventually maybe even actually we're going to have a 30 before the 40 or the 50. So we're going to get to a 60 and then a 30 coming up. We're in our last 4 miles of this journey, not counting Newton Heath. This will be our first time seeing Newton Heath. Unfortunately, it's going to be in the dark. But typically, these services do go there in the dark. There's not a lot that go during the day. There are a couple, but this is not one of them. This is a nighttime one. So I got myself down to 70. The downhill is not dangerously fast right now, so we are going to allow that to ease our speed off a bit as we get down. Actually, I'm going to start slowing to 60 now because we have the time, and I want to make sure we can respond to that 30 up ahead. So I'm slowing a little bit of that speed now so I can take the time to respond to the alert. And of course I scratched my head when that happened. I got it in time, so we're good. That was the warning for the 30. That means that we're coming up to Miles Plating Junction. But first, the disused park station. I might have slowed down a little bit early because I'm actually starting to lose time now. So that's a little slightly more annoying than I was hoping it was going to be. That will affect my turnaround time at the station. Don't like that. Quarter of a mile. Let's start bringing that speed down now. I need a little more brake power. That's a little too easy on the brakes there. This is also too easy on the brakes. Now the brakes are going to get very, very awful in this area, so we need to drop a few miles under the speed limit here as we come to Miles Plating Junction. Notice how quick the speed is going up when I don't have the brakes on. That's a 1 in 116. It's going to get a lot steeper than this. So we're going to have to keep that speed well under the limit to make sure we avoid breaking it. Why they make this a 40 to allow for a little more ease here, I have no idea. Now here's where it gets really bad. 1 in 47 is this very, very steep gradient. The downhill braking is not doing very much at all at step 1. As soon as I take it off, you're going to notice that it just shoots up just like that. Just powers up. But we're in a 50 now anyway, so it's fine. We can do that. We're okay increasing at this time. In fact, I'll put a little throttle on. Why not? Get ourselves up to 40 at least. I thought the speed froze for a second. Okay, we're going to hold here. Let's not cross 40 now, please, because we're close enough to the problem point of the 40 speed limit. We also have what looks like a yellow coming up. We are, in fact, on our last 2 signals, so of course it's going to be a yellow. That would mean this is a double yellow. 1 in 59 is now the gradient, but I'm going to keep the speed easing down because we have 20 up ahead. And with such a steep gradient, we're going to need more braking power. So getting the speed a little lower to start with is the safest way to do that. We have the time. I will use it. Thank you. A little more brake power. My goal now is to get, actually this brake, it's going to smooth out, so as long as I'm under 20 I should be good. There's our single yellow, and it is smoothing out to the point that downhill is not going to increase the speed much now. It still will while the back of the train's on it, but not for long. Going to hit the brakes down to about 10 to 12 before we actually get in the platform, so I'm going to hit the brakes now. And it's a very small platform, so I'm going to have to come to a stop quicker anyway. So we'll keep that in mind. This is a very, very quick stop. I don't need to go all the way to the buffer because I know I'm going to be leaving. Coming a little slower than I wanted to though, so I'm putting a slight amount of speed on, if I can. Looks like I can't. Alright, let's do our turnaround. Passengers are getting off. We're going to move our train to the other side after we reset the reverser. We turn the headlights off. Instrument lights are going to go off. Tail lights can go on. Change cabs. Tail lights off. Headlights on. Instrument lights on. Reverser. Oh, I didn't take the master key out on the other side, so we'll fix that quickly. Master key out. And we'll put the master key in on this side. DRA can go off. We'll turn that to... That's not what I want to do. That's also not what I want to do. Why did I do that? Okay. I hit the pause button. So we're going to hit that HUD, and we are good to go at this point. Let's look at the train very quickly. Normally I would just give you a screenshot, but this is an interesting bug. The doors on the wrong side of the train are open. I don't think this was what was intended, but I will report this and see what... is going on with that. That is interesting. Yeah, doors are open on the wrong side. This is not the platform. And the train is moving, and we cross that little remaining patch of ground before the signal, and we are off. We're leaving at our 20 mile per hour speed limit. Now we're going to keep in mind that there is going to be a major uphill coming here. So we're going to have to try to increase speed on this very, very steep 1 in 47 uphill gradient we're going to hit. Good news is we're hitting a 25 and then a 40 and then a 25 and then a 40 and then a 25 and, well, you know. We're just going to go 25 in this segment, so a little bit more of a challenge. We're on a 1 in 59 right now. I went to a level 4 throttle to try to get the speed up. Supposedly we're on a 40, but we're going to go 25 again, because why not? There it is. Junction speed. Now we can move up to 40 and 50. Let's go. In fact, we don't even have the 30 on the junction because we're not turning onto the Huddersfield line. We're going to stay on the line heading to Rockdale instead. because that is how you get to Newton Heath, and that is our destination. And we will get there. Oh yeah, you know we'll get there. I will get there. You know what I didn't do? I didn't change my train to say we're out of service. So let's look at the train front here, since I stupidly didn't do that earlier. Hello, there we are. So let's zoom in on that for a second. And we're going to go ahead and hold F8 to move this up where I want to. You can see I can do this just by holding the F8 key. F7 goes the other way. Eventually depot comes up. Who needs codes? Just do it this way. There's the depot. And we're not seeing much of the train in there. Okay, let's go. We're not gaining speed at all. We're only at 38.7. Wow, I expected more of a speed increase than that. Horrible train physics. Come on. Let's go, train. There's somewhere to be. I need to go get a drink, you know? We're going to be super early anyway, according to the schedule. So now I think we've passed Miles Plating by now. If we look at the map, you can see... Oh, no, I take that back. We're only approaching Miles Plating as we speak. Here's the little batch of track we haven't seen yet. And we're ending somewhere in here. Hello. I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that, and I'm going to be suffering the emergency brake from that one, ladies and gentlemen. I was not expecting a double yellow. Well, well, good thing we have lots of time, huh? I was trying to show you stuff, and that's what I get for showing you stuff. We stop on an uphill that's going to completely murder me on the way up. Okay, here we go again. Here we go again. Let's get moving. That's what you call very, very bad effort at paying attention. That's bad paying attention right there. So let's get this thing moving as fast as we can, as quickly as we can. Because this is not a spot you want to get yourself stuck. I'm going backwards, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try level 5. Forward now. Forward. You do not want to come to a stop on this part of the route, guys. I'm at full power, and I can't go anywhere. Well, this is looking fun. Try this going the other way now, shall we? There we go. I don't know why it didn't want to behave, but now there's a very good chance I'm going to be late because of this. I'll stop it. Needless to say, the train did not want to respond correctly, and that is not the kind of spot you want to get stuck in. So I just lost all the extra time I had, and now we're going to be struggling to be on time. We got a mile to go. 15 is our yard entry speed, I believe. We have to get ourselves over 15 for a while if we want to be on time. We have to get over 20 for a while if we want to be on time. And there's a 25 up there. I'm tempted to reset that to a save and just pick it up again, but I kind of just want to finish this. So there's your indication of what can happen. And we're still more, well, now we're about 2 minutes out from the stop. So I'm just going to stop at 25 for now because I don't see any better way to do this. The ETA is looking horrid right now. ETA is looking absolutely horrid. Let's keep that speed going for a minute. We're going to have to bring this down quickly when we need to. Preferably not that way. So we have a shunt signal. There's also something going on over here somewhere. Who cares? So there's something coming over us, and that's going to meet us. I think that's the metro line. Well, now I'm just hoping I'm on time. I should still be good, but you never know. Ah, it's the cars I'm hearing. I should know that. Okay, I'm hearing cars. I almost forgot to brake for the 15, but it's actually good for my timing, so I'm going to take it. I'm still aiming to be on time, and I don't want to pull all the way forward because there is a garage here. It's not realistic for us to run into the garage door, so if I'm on one of those tracks, I want to make sure I come to a stop before the door. Which is okay because I need to stop on time anyway. Yeah, I think we got a garage. This side up here that's our stop. That is not an active service, so we're not going to worry about him. But we are... Why are my headlights off? My headlights just dimmed, I swear. So we're going to move up a little bit here. We're going to stop right in front of the garage. We're going to get fully in the yellow. That should be good. Let's look at the train. Yep, can't do much better than that. So that's off, and the rest of it we're just going to assume is good. So taillights are back on, and we're just waiting for this to come up and tell us to leave, because it's going to be one of those quick menu screen reach ones. So let's see what it says. Just the well-earned break as usual. Let's look at the scoring screen, shall we? Yep, there you go. So that is how you get the 1,000 on that scenario. Most of those timings are very, very lenient. I found that to be a lovely drive. The only one possibly causing issues is Huddersfield, but given that as long as you get off quickly enough from the station, you don't spend too much time at low speeds, you should be okay even for that one. So generally, and then we had their little comical moment, and I'm actually leaving it in for you, where I end up reversing on the main line. So that was the case where the throttle just did not pick up for some reason. Again, I'm thinking it's something to do with the train scripting, where the train didn't want to pick up me applying speed. So here I was going 5 miles backwards per hour instead of going forwards. And it's like, hello? Yeah, that's why you saw me constantly hitting the brakes wondering what was going on. I couldn't apparently apply the throttle while the brake was applied. That seems to be a problem. Some trains you have to do that. A lot of trains, in fact, you're encouraged to do that. Apply a minimal throttle to get some traction going before you release the brakes on an uphill, which I was on when I had that emergency stop. And obviously that doesn't work on this train. You have to just let the brakes off and go into level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as needed to get yourself moving in the right direction, and then you eventually get going. So you don't actually get to use the hill as leverage in this train, which I find unfortunate that that's the way that's set up. But in any case, that's the end of that scenario, and that was a little bit more comical than I expected it to be, but hope you enjoyed it. We don't get our XP again, so we don't get our achievement either. So I'm going to have to come back and show you the achievements on this, probably as part of the Railfan scenario. When I do the Railfan, I will come back and try to show you the achievements. Hopefully the save game will allow me to pick it up from there to get the achievement and the XP. Again, the XP doesn't matter, but the achievement does. You want to brag about something. Not really. But in any case, that's that scenario. I hope you enjoyed it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Scenario number 5 will be next time. I believe that is a class 142. I have half a mind to put the Armstrong Powerhouse 142 in there. I'm going to check the liveries and see if the livery is matched with the one in this DLC. If so, I may swap that in just for shiggles. And when I do that, I will play that for you instead of the one in the DLC itself. And I'll replace the DLC one with the AP one just for fun as well. I'm gonna have to keep the control guide for that one handy, because being one of the first trains, it also has a more obscure set of controls as well. For example, E is the master key. Don't ask. It's the driver's safe vigilance device nowadays, I believe, but back then it was a master key. Again, don't ask. But in any case, I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, or night, whatever it is for your part of the world. The next video should be on Tuesday, if I'm planning this correctly. And if I am, you'll see the next video on my playlist on Tuesday. If you're on my playlist, that will start in 3, 2, 1.